Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to 89 Octane, and today we are back with some more Forza Motorsport 7 hot laps. Also, I managed to go downstairs and get myself a cup of water, because this is the 26th damn time I've tried to record this and show you guys these incredible cars, and I can't speak to save my life for 10 minutes straight. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. We are currently on the track-focused category, and there are 3 other categories that we have left after the track-focused cars. Those would be miscellaneous, supercars, and hypercars. In addition to that, other news, there is a link down in the description below, and that will send you to a Google Doc that has all of the cars that we've ever ran on a Forza Hot Laps video. Besides the Sport Luxury category, those files were all corrupted. So, unless you wanted to just see a little warning triangle on your screen for about 10 minutes, I suggest you just take my word for it. Those times are accurate. I guarantee you kind of just got to trust me on that one. If you don't, shoot yourself. California T is our current leader, in fact, with a 2:32. Hopefully, some of the cars today are going to be able to beat that. Also, if you ever hear me take a break or like a brief pause, it's because I've ran out of breath because it is so hard without water. Like, I'm going to die. Anyways, Caterham R500 Superlight. This car drives like a mosquito. That's the best analogy that I can give you guys. It kind of slides all over the place no matter what corner you're taking. So it isn't easy to drive, but if you can drive it, it will go pretty fast. And I had to take so many rewinds when I was taking this car around the track because I needed to have an appropriate racing line so that it could be properly compared to all of the other vehicles, because I haven't played Forza in a long time when I tried to record this, and I tried with the Caterham. So I had to run it around the track like 6 times and go do some other races first before I was all warmed up and ready and like, alright, now I can set an appropriate lap time that will match up appropriately with all of the other cars that I have ran on Forza Hot Laps. It does have a better power to weight ratio than a Bugatti Veyron, but that's not necessarily a good thing, as, again, it just slides. Anyways, on to the home stretch here. The Caterham with a 2:27, our new fastest car. We'll see if that stands. I'm banking on no. There's a bunch of other amazing cars that we have today. 3 more of them, starting with this, the Lotus 311. Now, Lotus, obviously famous for making lightweight cars, notorious liability issues, except they have started using Toyota engines, as this one has. The cars themselves are sort of rattly, and there's people who have had problems with Evoras and stuff. It's just a notorious issue, but 311, I haven't actually heard of any because they don't exist where I live in the United States. I've never seen one of these. I'll see an Evora or maybe an old Elise come to a Cars and Coffee every once in a while. Lotus is becoming increasingly uncommon in the United States. Not sure why, probably a quality control issue. People are all up in arms about everything, but with the new Toyota power plants, which actually isn't that new, they've been using them for a while now, I wouldn't be surprised if you just walked into, you know, your local auto shop, they could find the parts, or maybe even a Toyota dealer and be like, hey, this slightly modified Camry engine needs repair, until you pull up in one of these good-looking black Lotus 311s, which probably aren't even illegal in the U.S. I've never seen one. Doesn't mean they're not legal, but I've never seen one. And a lot of these track day cars you won't see in the United States. They're often don't meet safety regulations. They're super tough to meet in the United States. Koenigsegg had to crash a 1-to-1 before they were allowed to sell them in the United States, which sounds absolutely horrible. Also, you notice many of the cars, actually all but one of the cars on this list, are from the United Kingdom. Now, I'm not sure if this is a big thing in the UK. Obviously, I've seen Top Gear, and I know that track days do exist, but where I'm from around the US, they aren't that popular because there's nowhere to do them. There's not a ton of racetracks. Anyways, back to the Lotus. This car is far more planted than the Caterham. It is heavier, it has a little bit more power, so I actually think it'll do a lot better in time. It is also the newest car, actually, that we're testing today. So hopefully those 2 years of development will give it a little bit of an edge. Anyways, on to the main straight here. It is a good-looking car in black. And I'd really love to see one at a Cars and Coffee, actually. I think that'd be the coolest thing. Anyways, a 222 for the Lotus. Moving on. our next car. The Donkervoort. Please excuse my I can't even pronounce the word pronunciation now. Pronunciation of Donkervoort. Something like that. Anyways, it has an Audi inline 5 engine. So, again, sort of like the Lotus, you could probably find somebody who can fix it in a relatively easy fashion, which I do like that they're doing with these sort of, uncommon, exotic, tracky type vehicles. This one, I have heard of them being in the United States. There's some in California. I've seen videos of them before. They are drivable. This one is actually, I believe, right in between the Caterham and the Lotus. The Lotus seems a lot more planted. The Caterham, a lot more skiddy, as I was talking about. This, right smack in the middle. We'll see if the times align with that right smack in the middle ideology. But anyways, as you can see, it's not super skiddy. And it does get a little bit, but it's not all over the place like the Caterham was. These, as I was saying earlier, you do see them in the U.S. They do have butterfly or scissor, whatever you want to call them, doors, Lamborghini doors, as Neanderthals would call them. Fortunately, I'm a Neanderthal, so I call them Lamborghini doors all the time. This has Lamborghini doors, and it's funny because you could see the crease right there on the silver. The black is the tub, and that, I assure you, is probably the only reason that this thing can meet U.S. safety regulations, is because the tub is so high up in the car, like you are sitting so deep in the tub that the doors almost make no difference. If you want to, I believe there is a there's another Shmee made a video on a Donkervoort, so if you want to go check that out, you can probably just type it into the search bar and see what I'm talking about. The tub is so high, and the doors are so teeny tiny. So the mechanism that they made to make this car have Lamborghini doors was probably one of the most useless inventions of all time. Anyways, moving on, the car coming up to the final straightaway. We got our last corner first. Pretty solid looking so far. Again, a lot less skiddy than the Caterham. A little bit more all over the place than the Lotus. We'll see how that does for its time. Donkervoort D8 GTO, 225. So right smack in the middle of the skidding Caterham and the planted Lotus. Anyways, now on to our final car of the day. The Ariel Atom V8. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. It is an English car, and I don't know all English slang, even though I do try to watch my fair share of Top Gear and the Grand Tour. This car is just an Ariel Atom, and they were like, hey guys, let's take two motorcycle engines, plaster them together, and stick it in the car, do a little bit of tuning, add a big-ass wing to the back, and see how it goes. And it has made a tiny F1 car. This car is so incredibly fast. It does drive in a similar fashion to the Caterham, though. It's like a Caterham, but on a whole nother level. It's like comparing the Cadillac ATS-V to the CTS-V. The Caterham would be an ATS-V. This would be a CTS-V. Obviously not an amazing comparison, but this drives like the Caterham. It just, it's going to be faster. So we'll see. The Lotus is currently, the three cars we've tested so far are now top three on our leaderboard. The Lotus with a 222, obviously incredibly quick. That's never a time that should be seen as slow, but this Ariel might just be in a chance of going below 220. We'll see. It also is a pretty good looking car. I like how it looks. I like the two-tone paint job. I know you can get that on most Ariels. There was also a review by this car on Top Gear, and they talk more about the car. So if you want to know a lot about it, then you can go and see that. But we're just trying to see how fast is it going to go in comparison to some of the other newer vehicles that are out now and some of the other track day vehicles that we have, like the Lotus 311, which we haven't been able to see go around a track really anywhere before. So we're going to do it in the game and see how it compares to the Atom V8. This, again, a 2013 model, along with the Donkervoort and the Caterham. All 2013 models. The Lotus, I believe, is a 2015 model, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, coming up to our last corner, a blistering looking lap. We'll see how it does. Let's see. Ariel Atom. 215. Blistering. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.